Quamrads, welcome to episode 15 of the Quamfy show. As you probably know, it's pretty much a pretty red week. Luna died. Practically everything is down at least 80% from all-time high. Everybody's screaming bloody murder. We're going to have a look at how we are both feeling today. We're going to have a look at the latest update 2.2.6, because for Quant, it is business as usual, as it should. We're going to have a stab at some Twitter activity. We're going to have a look at coin market cap to look at the carnage and try and swim through the blood in the streets. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting episode. Potentially, a guest will pop in during this episode. We'll see how it goes. But for now, Tim.
Yeah.
How have you been, my man?
Well, I'm alive. I think that's the most important thing. Well, you said, well, Luna died, and it actually was alive during our last recording.
Yeah.
It died in a matter of 36 hours, 48 hours by now. I don't think that anyone, well, I would have thought that Luna would be at around 2 cents at the moment.
Is it still 2 cents?
This time, I mean, it could be 4 cents. It could have doubled. You could double your money.
There are actually people swinging this.
Yeah, yeah. No, but I think
yeah, it's 0.02 right now.
Okay.
And it was at its low at 0.008.
Okay, so it's nice. It's 2.5x. I mean, it's not too bad.
People trading this, man. It's.
If you told me this last week at this time, last Thursday, I would have just slapped you in the face and told you, no, it's not right, and that can't be right. That's complete utter fud. Well,
last Thursday, I used Luna as an example for utility.
Did you?
I did. I was under the impression that there were some projects in Africa running on Luna or something like that. There were a bunch of dApps running at least. And well, that's obviously not the truth anymore. I'm sorry for that. But yeah, it's...
I'm just in utter disbelief at what happened this week.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the kind of fear I had all the time. So let me get this straight. So every time when I tell people about Quant and what it does and what Overledger is, etc., etc., I always tell them what, well, the possibilities are, what the how you say that? Oh dear.
The risks, the rewards.
Yeah, the risk and rewards, exactly. So I just give them a scan of the environment, right? And I tell them, okay, we've looked at this, we've looked at that. The community has done really, really thorough research, and I can debunk most questions that people ask me. But I always tell them that there's this one risk, and that is not in our hands. That is the fact that we are in a completely unrational market. We are in a kindergarten, in a way.
Oh, no.
And if that kindergarten decides that it wants to go apeshit, it actually does. And that happened. I've never seen something like this in crypto. I did see it with Wirecard. Actually, I did see something like this with crypto, but not a top 10 crypto. That is completely unusual that this happens. And It just was a seismic shock. Yeah, it really baffled me. And the last time I saw this with a serious company was with Wirecard. Sure, there were these investigations by the Financial Times and the German the financial authority, but come on, this is so extremely bizarre, and that is the kind of risk we are in this market, and because it took everything with it. People are losing money left and right, and even we are getting into this madness at the moment. So that's troublesome.
I think there was already a lot going on, because we were actually on a downtrend for what, 6 to 9 months already.
Yeah.
And not just Quant, a lot of other tokens and coins as well. And what happened like 2-3 days ago, the Luna debacle, I still don't actually know who started it. I mean, there's so much information, misinformation. It's hard to find out what's actually the truth.
I think
But
there's this clip from Warren Buffett that gets played again and again and again, where he kind of explains the concept of the fog of war. I mean, during a war, you're not sure what happens because there's information left and right. And then during the market crash like this, you have the fog of fear. The fog of not the fog of fear, but the fog of panic. Because at the moment it happens, you have no clue. There's so much information that it could get worse. And by the time everything has cleared up, you're already too late.
I understand what I'm talking about, the root cause, about who is responsible for what. And because some people state that there was an attack, there was a deliberate attack made on Do Kwon himself, the CEO of Luna, who's a fucking loudmouth. There's no way about it. If Gilbert would pull the shenanigans and the bullshit that Do Kwon pulled, I would have left my position a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, the shit that he says on Twitter, on other projects, bets he makes with people, the name calling people poor, and betting people 20 million, 200 million that he's gonna destroy, die, and all that kind of crap. I don't know. Man probably has a fuck ton of enemies. So after the initial dump / crash, whatever you want to call it, all these Twitter threads started popping up, and I'm deliberately not sharing them because I don't know what is real and what is not. But some are claiming that BlackRock is involved. Others are claiming that there were kind of like VCs or other companies. But I believe consensus right now is that there was like a billion fucking dollars borrowed, or $3 billion borrowed in Bitcoin, used to buy OTC Luna from.
And OTC is over the counter, by the way.
Yeah, so not to manipulate price. So it's like under the table. I just settle my shit with Tim. But then they settled with Do Kwon. He gave him $1 billion worth of Luna, but they didn't have enough to back it. Subsequently, they dumped the Bitcoin and then the Luna, and then it triggered a cascade, and they didn't have collateral, so they got liquidated. And I'm messing all these terms up, but in the end, the algorithm is actually strangling itself to death because it wants to peg back to $1, the stablecoin. So that's the Terra part, the UST, and the Luna part is supposed to get burned or printed or minted depending on the amount of UST available.
Yeah.
So what's happening now is that, well, what happened, because it is pretty much a done deal, everything was circling the drain, and the closer it got getting flushed, the more the algorithm started self-destructing. And if I believe that Terra has printed over, Luna has printed over 15 billion tokens. The supply was around 700 billion, like yesterday or a day before, and it now printed 15 billion to level the scales, or to.
Wait, did you say that previously we had 700 billion? I think
million?
You meant million. You said billion.
Yeah, so okay, thanks for the correction. No, 700 million was the supply, and now they are well over 15 billion, and not even sure, could very well have been creating more right now, but it's dying. It's like 1 cent or something.
Oh, it's dying. No, it's that. It is completely dead.
You never know. I mean, there's still people buying the goddamn dip. People, please be careful.
Sure, but
there are people swinging this, like you said.
sure that there are always opportunities. I mean, you can swing penny stocks, but that doesn't mean that it fundamentally is alive. It's just basically just swapping trash from A to B. What I wanted to say is that I checked this afternoon, and at that point, I think Luna was down like 99.95%, and I think that's worse than high performance blockchain, which rocked in I believe it was November 2019, and that turned out to be a complete Chinese scam where they promised all kinds of stuff, and it just turned out to be like stock images of offices with people working. It all wasn't true, and then the team left the project, and it was a complete utter disaster. And from all-time high, I think it was only down like 99.90%. So Luna did even worse. This is what it looks like now.
I put up the graph, and it reads, this is coin market cap we're looking at. It says Terra. Terra price currently is 0.02521 cents. It is down 98.09%. It's 98% down on Bitcoin. The lowest low was 1 cent, and the highest high was $1.40 this 24 hours. You look at the graph. It's not pretty. It has declining volume, and even for the last 24 hours, it's
like a slide. It's like a water slide.
Yeah. If you look at the 7 days, 7 days ago, it was still at $80. And 1 month ago, it was at $100. And if you look at the graph now, you see a spike in volume, and it's literally a slide, but it's a water slide, because if it be a normal slide, you'd break your ass when you get to the bottom. This is pretty terrible. Will it recover? I mean, I even saw a clip of Do Kwon, being the boss, saying on some kind of podcast that they have an apocalypse protocol in their Terra Luna business, meaning that whenever shit gets really bad, they initiate apocalypse protocol, and that kind of destroys everything that they had and have. So there's no evidence and no other stuff, and that they can just bill. Don't know if this is true, but again, man, if fucking Gilbert would say stuff like that, I'd be out the door. I'd be gone. But yeah, this is the Quamfy show, not the Luna show.
No, but I think it's vital that we address it, because we cannot ignore the crypto space, and I think we need to talk about it a little bit more, because I think there are very, very important lessons to be learned here, and I think we need to go through them and apply them to our case, and because this is bizarre what happened.
Yeah,
and don't get me wrong, like, crypto is a risky space, but that a top 10 project, one of the biggest cryptos out there, but with a lot of people behind it, with a lot of influencers behind it, does so terrible that is unheard of, even in this space, which has the tendency to do this.
I read about a guy. He said I had well over $1 million worth yesterday, and now it is worth a little bit over $1,200.
Yeah, and to add to that, I mean, sure, for us as quant holders, we are always skeptical of this market, right? We ridiculize it a lot. We make fun of people losing. Well, we don't make fun, but we make fun of the shenanigans in this market.
Some people are just plain idiots.
Exactly, and but still, even people who are in quant, who were historically with us in last year, they had a lot of faith in Luna. There were a lot of people from us who were also in Luna, right?
I had Luna,
and that wasn't a very uncommon thing. It literally was the case that people had Luna, because they believed in it. And there were people even from our community who actually said, well, like you last week, apparently, you said, well, Luna is a good case of adoption because it does have dApps on it. I think Luna has like 100 150 dApps.
Oh.
And there were people that's also funny, because I think we really need to learn lessons from this, guys. There were people also saying,
Okay,
telling
but
us,
okay. But what can we learn then? Because you can keep summarizing all these things. What do we learn?
we
What is the
learn
lesson?
the lesson is that gambling on one network like this is a very, very stupid thing to do.
Okay, how does
Especially when it's tied to a stable coin which isn't backed by any collateral, which is backed by an algorithm.
Yeah, okay.
And an algorithm that is a crypto asset.
Yeah.
That is one of the most stupidest things you can do.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the bottom line. The bottom line is do your research, and we're gonna dive into stable coins a little bit later on in the show. But do your research. I mean, going all in on a single project, I do not think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I'm practically all in on Quant. I know Tibis as well, and the vast majority of Quant holders.
But are we in on one project, or are we in on networks?
Yes. No, we're in on one project, and we can try and polish it up as much as we like, but it's still one project. To be fair, I mean, it has one position on CoinMarketCap. It has one token, and we own one token. And yes, it's an interoperability protocol operating system, which services everything, granted, but it is still a single bet. It is not an ETF. It is not ETF, and it doesn't compare as one. And I know we like to say amongst ourselves, peak diversification is 99.3% quant, and the rest is ETH. And it's true, but it is still betting on one horse. But what is behind it is a lot of FA that adds up, and there's no shady Ponzinomics stablecoin, and I have to call it a Ponzinomics stablecoin right now, because as usual, same with TrueBit, we discussed. Oh yeah, we need to check the Quamfy launch last year. Same with TrueBit last year. What you get is, as long as it works, practically nobody bats an eye. There's always a couple of people, and also with the Luna situation, how people come out of the woodworks. I told you this is going to happen with Luna a couple of weeks ago. That was the bet that one guy made with Do Kwon. Luna is going to go below 10, and Do Kwon said, "I'll bet you 20 million it doesn't. Let's make it 200 million." Well, he lost that bet, safe to say. You can't even fucking pay the guy who we lost the bet to right now, probably. Nah, but that it's
yeah.
Algorithmics.
True,
yeah.
No, but it is just a completely humbling situation, right?
Yeah, in a way, yes.
We cannot downplay this. There's no way we can possibly downplay what happened this week.
No, I mean,
because it is what.
But was Luna the sole cause to crash everything else? I'm
there
not so
are
sure.
Obviously multiple factors, right?
Yeah.
And you can never point and say, hey, that is the reason we crash. But I think that for what we have seen in the past 72 hours is completely tied to what happened with Luna, and because it causes this seismic wave, right, across the space. I remember this morning, a lot of FUD was going around Tether. Is Tether? How do you call it in English?
Tether, yeah.
Tether, yeah.
No, Tether.
Tether.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I cannot talk show. No, Tether. And there was a lot of uncertainty and fear this morning, and that was around the point that Bitcoin went back to, I don't know, 28k. It was 25k in euro. Quant went all the way back to the 40 range, $40. I think in euro we went to 45, and then in dollars it just went sub 50. At that point this morning, if you were reading the chats, if you were on Telegram, and as in the morning here in Europe, there was so much fear. There was this complete panic that the UST situation would flow over into Tether, and that the same thing would happen there.
Yeah.
I'm not making this up. This literally happened this morning. It didn't, but there was so much fear. Well, it's weird, right? Because people know, and that is what baffles me, is that people already know for a couple of years that these kind of stable coins could potentially just destroy the space.
Yeah,
So
Tether's been under the microscope for quite some time.
yeah, and now suddenly the narrative is no, you need to be in USDC. But I mean, I've heard that since I'm in crypto.
In the quant community, we are aware that the only stable coin worth having is USDC.
Yeah.
But there are just so many trading pairs that, coins and tokens that only have a trading pair in USDT. And I can understand that a lot of people just decide to downplay the risk and just take the plunge and are in USDT nonetheless. I mean, it's the same with drinking a fuck ton of alcohol or using drugs. We know the risks, and we still do it.
Yeah, true. Also for our own convenience, of course. I'm suddenly thinking about, I mean, I just want to talk about Luna because it just fascinates me.
You want to talk about what?
No, just about this Luna situation. It just fascinates me.
Did you, by the way,
we will go? Huh?
Did you turn on the stopwatch and for the?
I did.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah. We're just yeah.
Go on with the Luna thing.
Yeah, what I just said. Well, because also some people from our community, and I think some very knowledgeable and respectable people were in that. So I'm really wondering how they are doing at the moment. Whether they got caught up in the storm or did they leave in time? And there were even some people who've been here since the very start of the QNT project. So I'm really wondering how they are doing. It just fascinates me how fast this can go. It's just shocking. And I see that you're looking at the Quant Chart now, so maybe we can turn it back to the Quamfy show.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's really interesting what's going on, and there are indeed a lot of people in Luna that were also in Quant. I think Dread was pretty deep in. If you see this, mate, I hope you're all right. Yeah, and looking at Quant, it's not as bad on the 1 month as the Luna slide. The Luna chart, I must say, this is, but it's still not pretty. Looking at the 7 days, you see two very big crevasses. I don't know. Is this a head and shoulders thing? I don't know.
I'm not doing any TA. So.
I don't do any TA. No.
No, we're just following Bitcoin at the moment.
Lines are for snorting, not for drawing, right? Neil said something about that in the Dutch group.
Yeah.
So yeah, so what you see here is there's at least an attempt to recovery. Volume is decent. It's was that 150 million? So that's a 3x from the regular volume.
Which means that a lot of people were actually scared and selling their QNT, because usually nobody really trades QNT. And that is also, I mean, if we go, I mean, definitely later this episode we'll go into the concept of stablecoins and stuff. And also then we will obviously make the case for CBDCs again, because we just like to kick open an open door. If that even is an expression in English, I'm not sure. But what I wanted to say is, oh dear, I lost my train of thought.
Okay, I'll just continue. Quant is position 64 right now, so we gained 20 spots since a couple of days ago. What I find interesting, I was just scrolling through, and what you see is PAX Gold right now. PAX G. That's a crypto, a gold-backed crypto. So every PAX Gold you buy, there's a bar of gold for you in their safe. So that's like a bear market thing to own gold, same as stables. And what you see when we scroll up, Neutrino USD. Is that a stable coin?
Neutrino, I completely lost my my thoughts before, so I'll just hop on here. I'm not sure what it is.
The PAX dollar, USDP, $1 stablecoin. And we're just scrolling up. We're position 53 right now. Qcoin token, Robi token, true, USD, position 48. Now we just keep going up. We got the maker, the EOS at 42. Tezos, XTZ at 39. ApeCoin at 33. I still own those. Got about 100 of those things just for fun. Monero is at 32. Chainlink at position 27 at $6.58. Ouch. Bitcoin Cash, FTX token, Litecoin on position 20. Matic position 18. DAI position 15. Stablecoin. We get Dogecoin at position 10. Cardano at 8. And then we get to the BUSD, which is also a stablecoin. That USD stablecoin, USDT stablecoin. There's a lot of stablecoins, and I don't know if that's a good sign or not. Bitcoin still number one. Market cap 500 billion, which is also no bueno. So the price is now 28.5K. ETH under 2K, 1.9. These are very interesting times indeed, and it appears that there might be a little peak again in the charts, maybe an attempted recovery. Well, you guys will see this tomorrow, and then you can put in the comments if that persisted or not. It probably didn't. There were already a couple of attempts to recovery, and every time it dumped a little bit further. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. My hope, and the hope of many other Quamfy people, is that this will accelerate the regulation and the standardization even more.
Exactly.
And I know people are crying at bitching at that Yellen woman from the US. She had apparently a statement ready pretty much as soon as Luna or Terra crashed. So the Calimeros were already diving onto that. Oh, they triggered it. They did it. But yeah,
they are so big and I'm so small.
In the Dutch show, we decided that all the conspiracy theorists, all the aluminium or the tinfoil hat people are going to be called Calimeros from now on, because they have, in our opinion, a Calimero complex. They are big and I am small, and it is not fair. So whenever you hear Calimero pass by, then
okay. I was thinking of something. I have no clue where my mind was going. So,
okay.
I think it might have had to do. Oh, that was it, by the way. Dear, my mind is going places. That was our tweet, and you were talking about people not trusting stablecoins and stuff, and suddenly, and exchange. Now we weren't talking about exchanges. This is going to be a messy episode. And that was the tweet we put out today. At least I put out today, and that revolves around the number of Coldwallets. So we can probably get that.
Yeah. Okay. I have Jesus, man.
Yeah.
I have it here. The Quamfy show on Twitter. So yeah. So everybody in the quant community is actually why doesn't it? What?
You okay?
Yeah, everybody cheers on regulation. Everybody wants to see regulation. I am still no good with a trackpad. Ah, there we go. Very strange on-chain behavior for Quant are people fleeing into cold storage wallet amidst the turmoil. What you see here is you see the graph, the Quant daily holders. The total number is 48,595. And what you see on the 12th of May is 442 new wallets. And on the 11th of May, 171 new wallets, while before that, the daily average is about 30-ish.
40, yeah, 30, 40, something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, what's happening?
Yeah, so my idea here, or hypothesis, is that people are fleeing the centralized exchanges and are going, are moving their assets into cold wallets, which is Ledger and Trezor, and all other kinds of technologies for that. And I think that's interesting because it shows us that people are willing. I think this is completely my interpretation, so don't take it, just take it as it is, as I put it. What I think is that people are, well, kind of just putting their QNT into cold wallets and just throwing them in a closet or something, or burying them in the ground and just not to look back, because they know that in the current conditions things are bad, but in the future things will be better. And if you scroll down, you will see that in the second tweet I put out. I said there, it would make perfect sense given the uncertainty around exchanges and stablecoins. So that was the stablecoin story. And we can look into the various forms of stablecoins a bit later in the show, because Quant actually did a post on the website, and we'll do that a bit later. And then I said in the last sentence, I said, is this a crypto? I put it as like, can you scroll down? I was proud of myself for saying that. Are we witnessing cryptographic cryonics? And cryonics is basically the idea that you freeze yourself when you're clinically dead, and you hope that some doctors in the future will be able to unfreeze you and bring you back to life.
Isn't that cryogenics?
I googled it, and it's cryonics,
Cool.
cryogenics. Yeah. Anyways, it's that concept that you freeze yourself, you put yourself in a cold wallet, and you hope for better days. So that might be what we're. That might be what we are seeing right now, and this is obviously complete speculation.
My speculation was,
yeah,
prices are low. People have been sitting on the sidelines. People wanted to get in. People thought QNT was too expensive. People bought in. New holders, fresh wallets, and to me that's super bullish if that is true, because what you get with pumps, then you get the Mewn boys. You know, with the pumps you get all the illiterate Mewn boys that just
Sherman stacking and Lemlo.
Yeah, that just follow the hype, follow the green candle, and try
Bino
to
Gilbert in Mewn, sir.
and try to ride the green candle as long as possible, and they'll bail on the first sign of quote unquote weakness. So that gets you a community full of whining little children
marketing
with zero knowledge of the project, zero incentive to stay, zero time or invested.
Win dashboard.
And if people join in these times, in my opinion, then you must have done your research.
Yeah.
And you must know what you're holding, and you must know that the future is bright. I mean, this is not necessarily a cold storage per se. It could very well just be a MetaMask account, which is also an Ethereum address. So we don't know if it's actually the deep freeze theory or that it's new users. Regardless, it is still bullish, because today 442 people decided that they need a new address to put their QNT in. No matter how you slice it, that's a 10x from the average daily.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool. And on exchanges, I have no clue why people are so bearish for exchanges right now. Must be my naivete. I have most of my tokens that I have on exchange on CoinMetro.
Last week you said Luna was properly adopted, so be careful what you say now.
What do you mean?
last week you said Luna had proper adoption.
Oh yeah,
A
well,
week later,
yeah.
I
I'll-
fucking rooked. I
If-
went to
if- if-
fucking
if-
work.
if Coin Metro rugs, I'll drive there and I'll rope Kevin and Oliver for myself. Nah, I just don't fucking see it happen. And I know Kevin tweeted out today also something about that. And to me the big difference, that was what Kevin tweeted about, between Coin Metro and say Coinbase or other exchanges, is that Coin Metro doesn't trade against its customers. They
No.
do not trade the book. They have nothing to do with prices. There's no influence whatsoever.
Mhm.
Unlike fucking Binance, that just stopped withdrawals of Luna like yesterday. So even if you wanted to bill, you could bill. You couldn't even bill because quote unquote congestion of the network.
I mean, the network probably got very congested, but yeah, that is something we see a lot. And in the past, it was even worse.
yeah.
Every time there were even times when Coinbase just completely went offline during a market crash.
Yeah, and which is obviously terrible. And those shenanigans, I've never seen that at Coin Metro. I've never ever had any issues, any problems. And if I had any issue or thing, I once had something wrong with a deposit, I could just get a customer service rep on the phone. I just call them, and within 5 minutes, I had somebody to talk to, a human being. I still have 2 queries for Coinbase and 1 for Binance. They've never gotten back to me. And that's like a year now. It's ridiculous. But besides that, it's a shit show of a day. And a lot of people are pretty scared. And a lot of people are then really bullish. And a lot of people are getting more greedy. I mean, a lot of people are calling for $40 QNT. Which is potentially possible. I mean, it's not impossible. But yeah, why not dollar cost average down instead of putting all your money on that $40 spot? Oh well, I don't know. What do we have here? I have just the tech guy. Or did you have anything to add, Tim? By the way,
We could talk about $40 QNT talking about a year ago, if you like, but we can also move on to just the tech guy. We can look back at a year ago. Let's see. Might be fun.
This is on screen right now. Let's do this.
Sure, I'll do it. Yeah.
Just the tech guy writes here: Bitcoin has failed as a store of value. It only works if the majority of liquidity uses it that way. Due to institutions entering Bitcoin, is behaving like a tech stock. Due to institutions entering, Bitcoin is behaving like a tech stock. Regulatory tightening will drain the liquidity even further. Imagine paying taxes on this volatile asset. It's interesting. I think I agree with this, and it is something I believe we spoke about last week, maybe the week before. Everybody wanted Bitcoin to get adopted by the big boys.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted, at first it's supposed to be money, right? It's supposed to be money for you and me, and Tim and I could just pay each other, and we could pay in every store, and fuck the tax, man, 100% decentralized.
Well, I mean, can I interrupt you there? I mean,
Yeah.
at first it was just meant as an experiment, I think, and just see what happens. And sure.
No. It was a solution for the 2008 market crash. It was supposed to be money, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, true.
It was supposed to replace banks and just cut them out altogether because they were corrupt and they destroyed our way of life and our economy, etc. And that was the initial plan. Well, that failed. And then it was the store of value thing, wasn't it? Or an inflation hedge. I forgot which came first.
Both.
It was the,
I think it's all at the same time, really. It's kind of this.
But the inflation hedge, that's really nice. If inflation pops up, you could get Bitcoin. But what they then didn't want, they didn't want the banks, they didn't want the institutions, they wanted it to be money. Well, eventually they noticed, the Bitcoin maxis, I just call them they, if they wanted true adoption, they were going to need the enterprises, the banks, and all that stuff, and the governments. So now you see governments rolling in. You see very, very big VCs and companies like BlackRock and MicroStrategies and all those guys are piling onto Bitcoin, and they want it, and they have deep pockets. So in the beginning, when I got into crypto, Bitcoin was kind of inversely correlated with the stock market, meaning if the stock market dumped, Bitcoin pumped in a way, and that gave Bitcoin a very, very good name for being a store of value, and it was very well, it was a store of value, to be fair, because it never dumped below a certain point, a certain all-time high that it reached in the past, etc. But what you see now, and that's the point that just that guy tries to make, is that the more institutions enter the playing field, the more you are playing by their standards. You're playing by their rules, you're playing by their needs. And that means that the greed is not endless. Many companies have boards of directors, and not everybody's as charismatic as Michael Saylor that can just sweet talk a board of directors into giving him carte blanche with his money. So what you're going to see is that a lot of pumps are going to get sold, and the sell pressure of institutions and enterprises and banks is going to be a lot higher. Another problem is, as soon as the air gets sucked out of the room on the trading floor for stocks, guess what's going to happen? Human psychology does not differentiate between Bitcoin and Netflix, or Bitcoin and Facebook. So not entirely sure, but I believe Netflix dumped 73% in the last week. What do you think? That they're just going to hold on to their Bitcoin? I don't know. I think they need to be very well read to hold on to their Bitcoin. But most people don't. It's just human psychology. Tim said it a couple of times last couple of days. It's a fight or flight response that you're going to get, and it's not rationale that makes you act. It's just pure hormones, pure fear, horror, terror, and they'll just dump whatever they have to cut their losses, and they have pretty big bags, so it might even be possible that they start a dump, to buy back in lower, all those things. So what you're gonna see, and that's been my hypothesis for years now, is that eventually Bitcoin will actually start to behave like a stock, and as soon as it starts to behave like a stock, then it's going to have the same value to the investors, the corporate investors, as a stock, meaning that there's no more 50, 100, 200% gains every couple of months or every year. And when that's gone, then it's not an interesting thing anymore. Might even be possible that they're going to dump it all together. What would that do to the price?
I mean, but if it behaves like a stock, it actually becomes a store of value, right? I mean, when it's speculative, it's not necessarily a store of value, because it could very well all completely collapse. Whereas the more institutions enter, the more trust it gets. I think that is.
There's no regulation. There's no regulation. But
regulation will come, right?
It should, but is then Bitcoin still interesting? Because right now you have to pay. It's still very volatile because it is super liquid. You can trade it 24/7. So there's a lot of retail in there. There's also rumors going around that by the Calimeros, I think, that they are trying to murder all the retail in crypto and get them all out to get more control over how the volatility goes in the charts and stuff. Can't find the right word. But to get more control over what's going on. But Bitcoin right now is the ultimate vessel to long, short, and to manipulate, but also to take out competition that is also in Bitcoin. If you want to hurt MicroStrategies and you have a little bit of a big bag, you could potentially harm them by making Bitcoin dump. And there is hardly any regulations on crypto saying you can or cannot do that.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm wrong, but eventually, of course, we'll have to see. But I think he's onto something here, and I'm
Yeah,
just
but
curious.
what does he mean with regulatory? I mean, and this is the thread where all people are joining in, right? You have Ghost and Greg also joining the conversation, I think. I'm just not sure what he exactly. I mean, this is probably my brain, which just has completely fried itself.
Yeah, he says by all means, and to be objective, I need no evidence on how it could still evolve as a store of value. So he still rejects that. Somebody says, "Be careful, the maxis might hear you." And then you see a gif of angry people. Tech guy says, "I used to believe in its utility as digital gold, but the turning point is here. The market doesn't care about what I want it to be. I'm observing change." Other people not believing the store of value narrative, only the tokens that quantize discrete irreducible units of utility will survive in the end. Everything else is simply backed by psychological sentiment, market momentum, and trading algos. ETH, Quant, DAG. Interesting.
Yeah, but okay, so I'm not sure about this. I mean, he could very well be onto something, and indeed, Bitcoin might not be a store of value, but we simply don't really know what it is, and that's also the reason why I'm not invested in it. But I wouldn't discard Bitcoin at this point, though. I think it's the same thing that we talked about a couple of times, and it's the entire idea that I'm not as technical, right? I'm not a tech guy, for just to be clear. I'm just giving you my worthless perspective. But I think that the entire market is bound to grow. The entire space is bound to mature. We will see regulation coming in that will purge everything that is unregulated. I'll be very, very happy with that. It will completely clean the space, and it will leave, it will leave the proper projects behind. Now the question is with Bitcoin, obviously, how will that work? Because there is no legal entity. So that's going to be really interesting. But I think that the entire space is going to grow a lot, and it's just to be seen which role Bitcoin will play in that. And it might very well be that, being the unrational people that we are, species, I have to say, it could very well be that people just decide, hey, Bitcoin is just the granddaddy of all crypto, so it deserves a place there. Just like people are still investing in certain companies, which in my perspective have no future at all, but people still invest in them.
Yeah.
We still believe that it's somehow, this might not be the best argument, but I don't know. I'm just not sure, and I think he might very well be right. But we will definitely have to see how this plays out. I'm just skeptical of discarding something which has been discarded many times. It might be more resilient than many people think.
Yeah, no, definitely. If you look at the history and how many times Bitcoin allegedly would have should have died, and it's the fact that it's still here, that's saying a lot indeed. I think I agree with that. I do think that some things need to change, because right now Bitcoin is very decentralized, and it's becoming more and more an asset for companies, maybe even banks, maybe even countries. There needs to come more accountability for the holders, if that makes sense. I mean, it's a little bit the discussion of the wallets. can everybody still have an anonymous wallet? What would a KYC, AML be? How decentralized can something be and still be used by companies? Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
It does, but I'm just trying. Yeah.
It's a wasp nest, and maybe our brains aren't experienced enough to
but
dig
it's
this. Yeah.
No, it might not be that our brains are not experienced enough. I think just the regulators themselves are also just trying to figure out how this will work, because
Yeah.
you have a decentralized network which
Yeah.
isn't owned effectively by anyone.
Yeah.
And try to regulate that.
Yeah.
And that would be exactly the point Bitcoin maxis will make, because they say, hey, nobody controls it, so
Yeah.
how are you going to control it?
Yeah.
But I think ultimately that's what the space needs. So that is going to create huge friction in the future.
And that's where we got back to for 4 times now. Went over that, is that because of the whole Luna situation and this, the stuff how it unfolds right now, Yellen calling for more regulation and quicker. This is another cascading effect that is going to be good for this space. And you said shitcoins will die. It will take a while because regulation is not here yet. We saw a bunch of quotes from Gilbert from Mewn.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
That regulation is now here. It's getting better. It's still not there yet. And from the 20,000 ish shitcoins that exist right now, 99.999% should die. but they
Yeah,
won't.
but also 99% is irrelevant already in terms of their impact.
Yes, and that's what you're gonna see now again, because last year we had the dog coins. I still have Black Kishu Inu that went like to practically zero. I put in 150 euros and now it's now it's a couple of cents. So all those dog coins effectively died. They're still on CMC. And now you're going to see a bunch of other coins that are also going to die. I am not so sure about Luna if it will actually die with them. I mean,
I think it will just turn into a penny stock for shenanigans. But we'll see. We'll see. What I cannot predict the future.
no.
In terms of these kind of events, it is too unpredictable. To make any estimates in this kind of market where it's basically human instincts running the show for now.
Yeah,
There is no rationality.
And the bag holders, if they're smart, they're holding on. I mean, I wouldn't sell this for cents on the dollar myself. But yeah, if you're down from 1 million to 1,200.
I actually also have some Luna because I made the exact same mistake as with Wirecard. I thought at $15, $16, I thought, hey, this could be a reversal. I actually ate just 150 euro. So I was like, okay, well, if it goes to zero, I miss out on Gran Turismo 7 and another game on my PlayStation 5. So it's not too bad. But I couldn't believe my eyes the next day, and when I saw it like $2, and then I saw it at cents, I was like, I could have just literally went to a cafe and just a bar, I mean, and just sit there and just have a very good night out. I should have just rather done that, I guess.
Yeah,
Give our friends some drinks. Well, yeah, that was pretty stupid.
At least you tried.
At least I tried, but that's the thing, right? I was discussing this with a friend of mine today, who was also in QNT.
Yeah.
And well, I convinced him late to enter, so he has been caught up in a negative spiral since September, which is very sad. But he is a true believer, though. And he said, well, his mind.
Yeah, are we talking true? Are we talking true believers now? We are actually a goddamn cult. It's hilarious.
We are a cult, yeah, perhaps, yeah. But I was just talking with him, and he said this very interesting thing, that like our mind, at least my mind, is not made to think negatively in short stuff. I'm always thinking bullish on the long term. I wouldn't have shorted Luna, really. I just don't believe in something going to zero. I always think in growth. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I'm just unable to short stuff. Otherwise, I would have made a lot of money.
You know, I don't even know how to do that, and I wouldn't even care to do that. To me, shorting and longing is just a form of degenerate gambling, and maybe it's because I'm just lazy. I just want to buy something and hold on to it, and preferably get some passive income. Passive income. Imagine you have a bunch of Luna, say about 500 grand worth, locked in a staking protocol for the duration of 21 days. And now imagine that what happened last couple of days happened to you while your shit is in a staking protocol.
You're completely screwed.
Yeah. You're fucked. You can't do nothing. You can't do anything. It's
I just feel so sorry for those people. And before we go into the stablecoin discussion, and just what I also find interesting is that this hasn't been in, at least not in my perception. I mean, I do read regular news outlets on what is going on. I don't see it. Well, literally one of the biggest cryptos just evaporated.
yeah. It's
So apparently for traditional media, this isn't.
oh, but they are also lazy. They are also lazy, and there's like 5 real journalists in the world. One of them is in Ukraine, the other one is in the United States, one is in Russia, and one somewhere in China, and the other one is roaming around. And all the other news venues, they just copy paste whatever somebody else produces. My dad asked me tonight, well, why do I don't see Quant on the news anytime? Why do I only see Bitcoin? I don't know. It's probably because the only thing they're interested in is the biggest one, and maybe the number 2, Ethereum.
I mean,
What's number 3?
I mean, you need to kind of make a selection in terms of news that you present, and I completely understand that, and I respect journalism. I think people are really doing their job, but I do find it fascinating, though, that something like this happens in crypto, and somehow the consensus in traditional media is that's crypto. Well,
Bitcoin dropped 20%. Okay, but there's a lot more going on. But
Yeah.
it's not even a real world.
I mean, to be fair, that there were. I mean, I also read the Financial Times, so there were some articles on it. But that's kind of a specialist newspaper. Just on the news, on the regular news, when I just opened my local news app, I expect this to be on the news, right? That people just lost all their money in a couple.
It's part
of the
days. What movie was that? Oh yeah, The Dark Knight. It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. If soldiers die, it's part of the plan. But if some innocents get killed by a crazy accident, then everybody loses their mind.
Yeah,
Oh,
perhaps
it's part of the plan. I plan stable coins. There's a bunch of different types of stable coins, and I pulled up a Wikipedia page. We're gonna have a look at this because one of the reasons why Luna died, and one of the reasons why not all stablecoins are created equal, and why, for instance, Tether is catching a lot of criticism and flack, is because not all stablecoins are the same. So what it reads here, stablecoins are cryptocurrencies where the price is designed to be pegged to a cryptocurrency, fiat, or to exchange traded commodities, such as precious metals or industry metals. We talked about this earlier. Pax Gold is pegged to gold. It's also a stablecoin in a way. You got also Pax US dollar. That's what they mean with the precious metal thing. We got the backed stable coins, and it reads, advantages of asset-backed cryptocurrencies are that coins are stabilized by assets that fluctuate outside of the cryptocurrency space. That is, the underlying asset is not correlated, reducing financial risk. Bitcoin and altcoins are highly correlated, so that cryptocurrency holders cannot escape widespread price falls without exiting the market or taking refuge in asset-backed stablecoins. Furthermore, such coins, assuming they are managed in good faith and have a mechanism for redeeming the asset backing them, are unlikely to drop below the value of the underlying physical asset due to arbitrage. Backed stablecoins are subject to the same volatility and risk associated with the backing asset. If the backed stablecoin is backed in a decentralized manner, then they are relatively safe from predation. But if there is a central vault, they may be robbed or suffer loss or suffer loss of confidence. There you got different types of backed stablecoins. You got the commodity backed, fiat backed, and cryptocurrency backed. We're putting this link down so you can read this in detail. It's quite a lot of text to cover, but commodity backed stablecoins, main characteristics, fixed to one or more commodities or and redeemable for such on demand, a promise to pay, and the amount of commodity used to back the stablecoin has to reflect the circulating supply of the stablecoin. And then they give Digix gold tokens as an example. Well, there you got fiat backed. This is what USDC is. I think it's, yeah, that one is also in the list. USDT is also there, which is interesting. And DM is there. Their value is pegged to one or more currencies, most commonly the US dollar, also the euro and the Swiss franc, in a fixed ratio. The tether is realized off-chain through banks or other types of regulated financial institutions, which serve as depositories of the currency used to back the stablecoin. The amount of currency used for backing of the stablecoin has to reflect the circulating supply. So that's where Tether gets most of the criticism, and because allegedly, I don't know for a fact, but they are not backed one-to-one. For USDC, which is operated by Coinbase and Circle. Yeah, they have been compliant with that ever since it became a thing. Tether, on the other hand, does not, and there's
well, they are backed by a very complex structure of all kinds of assets, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a sketchy business how that exactly that works.
Yeah, they've
been under the microscope, and somehow they don't pop. So
there are charts where you can actually see the correlation between the amount of Tether being printed and the amount of Bitcoin being bought on the open market, which raises obviously questions on the integrity and the validity of everything. So yeah, and we have DM here. DM is supposed to be the Facebook Meta coin in the future. We'll see about that. Let's see. And then we have the cryptocurrency backed stablecoin.
DM would be what we would call a synthetic CBDC, right? Or not? Issued by a private entity.
Yeah, but that's also the case with USDC and with USDT.
Okay.
So if you want to go to synthetic
jargon that is overlapping, yeah.
Yeah, no. So if you want them to be a synthetic CBDC, that would then mean that it would be used by the bank or the central bank internally and used as if being a CBDC, right?
I have no clue, honestly, how that works. Sorry for that.
Let's skip that. We got the cryptocurrency backed stablecoins also. They're issued with cryptocurrency as collateral, which is conceptually similar to fiat backed. However, the significant difference between the two designs is that while fiat collateralization typically happens off the blockchain, the cryptocurrencies or crypto assets used to back this type of stablecoins is done on the blockchain using smart contracts in a more decentralized fashion. In many cases, these work by allowing the user to take a loan against a smart contract via locking up collateral, making it more worthwhile to pay off their debt should stablecoin ever decrease in value. To prevent sudden crashes, a user who takes out a loan may be liquidated by the smart contract should their collateral decrease too close to the value of their withdrawal. Some significant features: the value is collateralized by another cryptocurrency or cryptocurrency portfolio. The peg is executed on chain via smart contracts. The supply of the stablecoin is regulated on chain using smart contracts, and the price stability is achieved through introduction of supplementary instruments and incentives, not just the collateral. So yeah, this is also a way, yeah, not super ideal with the volatility in crypto. I personally would not choose to do this. I mean, if the fluctuations are big enough on both ends of the spectrum, so for your collateral to go down while the other price goes up, then you're getting liquidated really quick. And usually, if you want to borrow €1, you need to put in €2 as collateral. Yeah. And then we got the one that this is all about, the seniorage style, not backed stablecoins. Seniorage style, also known as algorithmic stablecoins, utilize algorithms to control the stablecoin's money supply, similar to a central bank's approach to printing and destroying currency. Seniorage-based stablecoins are a less popular form of stablecoin. Significant features: adjustments are made on-chain. No collateral is needed to mint coins. Value is controlled by supply and demand through algorithms, stabilizing the price. Basis was one example of a seniorage coin. Terra, it's already updated. Terra USD, or UST as the ticker, created by Do Kwon, was meant to maintain a one-to-one peg with the US dollar. Instead of being backed by dollars, UST was designed to keep its peg through a complex system conducted with another Terra network token called Terra Luna. On May 11th, 2022, the tokens made headlines after UST broke the peg, with its price plunging to as low as 26 cents, while Luna fell 99.9%. Yeah, so the stablecoin dropped to 26, and Luna is, well, still 99+% down.
Yeah.
It also reads here: criticisms. Tether, the largest stablecoin by market capitalization, has faced accusations of being unable to provide audits for their reserves while continually printing millions. Many have attributed their unverifiable creation of new coins to Bitcoin's rise in price in 2017. This is a pretty interesting page. Definitely would recommend looking into this.
Yeah, and then we go to another interesting page from Quant itself, where they also do some terminology. And it's part 2 of the Blockchain 101 series.
Would you mind, Tim?
Jarno is using a, huh?
Yeah, I'm using a trackpad. Would you mind reading this, please?
Sure, of course. Okay, so basically Quant, well, it's giving us another glossary of terms and concepts. And the first one they present to us is the layer 1 and layer 2. So first, in brief, the summary, terms used to describe the underlying main blockchain architecture as an overlaid third-party network. Okay, and then continues, some of the popular blockchain networks such as Ethereum are slow and expensive. To help resolve this, a second payment mechanism, which is faster and cheaper in terms of gas, is often overlaid onto the main network. This uses smart contracts to create what is essentially an omnibus account on the main blockchain network. This solution facilitates improved transaction processing with periodic settlement back to the underlying blockchain, which is the system of record. The two layers have a similar relationship to that between a real-time payment, RTP system, and a real-time gross settlement, RTGS, system that backs it. The underlying blockchain, RTGS, is known as layer 1, and the solutions above it, RTP solutions, are layer 2. This is an active area of research and many solutions exist. However, few are proven as of yet, which is a silent stab into most crypto projects. Long
Yeah.
story short, it just explains how these networks kind of collaborate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is that this glossary, the next one we're not gonna read for the entirety of it.
No. Yeah.
It just goes into some basic things, and what's interesting to us is that apparently there's a demand because they put time and effort into putting this together and putting it on their website. And
I think that most average people don't understand. They won't have a clue what exactly this all is.
now, next one is mining. In brief, the process of creating new cryptocurrency units by solving puzzles. Then they're talking about network, an infrastructure that allows applications to access ledger and smart contract services. Then we have a node, one of the many devices on the network that run the blockchain protocol software and store the history of transactions. The NFT is a unique cryptographic token that exists on blockchain and cannot be replicated. An omnibus account that holds the funds of more than one user. Payment instruments, uses of programmable money. Smart contracts are programs which are stored on the blockchain and run when specific predetermined conditions are met. Stablecoins, a digital currency that is pegged to a stable asset such as the dollar or gold, designed to reduce volatility compared with unpegged cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. Stablecoins are better suited to commerce and inter-exchange transfers because they're intended to have a fixed price and are backed by reserves. They can be lent as collateral and redeemed by users. The two biggest stablecoin operators are Tether and USDC, run by Circle. Interesting how they added that run by Circle little bit behind USDC. Don't you think?
Yeah, that's interesting, and that they don't mention Tether.
Yeah.
Oh.
Tokens are a digital asset, runs on another cryptocurrency's blockchain. Transparency is the ability to search, access holdings and transactions of public addresses. And unbacked stablecoins, a class of stablecoin that operates on a supply and demand basis.
Unbacked stablecoins are tokens that attempt to peg themselves to the value of a fiat currency by using algorithms that respond to market conditions. They are not backed by any underlying collateral and are considered risky as large changes in market conditions or other specific circumstances could cause them to lose their value. An example is Terra USD. Boom.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that they updated this so quickly.
Yeah.
I actually had a pretty good laugh when I saw that pop up the first time.
Yeah.
So yeah, stable coins are a little bit of a thing, and what is interesting right now for stable coins is that they are in the end, if you want to send money to a family member or to somebody else, you most likely want to do that in stable coins, unless gas is terrible, of course. But it's not ideal to send somebody QNT. Well, I'd like to receive QNT, but because the volatility. So looking at the future, what crypto initially probably wanted to solve was being value that can be exchanged between individuals without a bank in between, if that makes sense, or their infrastructure. Stablecoins are important and they need to work and they need to be reliable. And if you look at what happened to UST within this week, you're pretty much fucked. Like we said, the people that have thousands, 10,000s locked in smart contracts for staking, quote unquote, easy money, passive income, 20%. Last year, you got laughed at if you said 20% is not sustainable. Well, what do you think, Tim?
That's completely unsustainable, and that was also my main concern back then. Sure, it sounded really juicy, but how are you ever going to manage to consistently offer a 20% interest rate? That is
Print 30%
impossible.
on the other end.
The only way is through Ponzi-nomics, and yeah, well, we see how that played out in the end.
Yeah.
And we also see it with other parties. I mean, wasn't it last week or the week before that crypto.com lowered their rates? And a lot of people were, well, not amused, to say the least. But what did they expect? Interestingly, though, I did see that another service which offers this, which is uHodler, which I've been using in the beginning of my crypto journey, it actually offered a decent, nice little stable passive income in the beginning. They actually increased their rates, so that was pleasant to see. But it's still relatively low compared to what you would get in these crazy protocols.
What just dawned on me? Now that yield is most likely, to a degree, dying. I mean,
everything is dying.
No, but we're probably going to get into a phase now where people are going to be looking for utility, and people are going to be very skeptical for higher yield projects, especially if we're going to go into a recession or a contraction or whatever you want to call it. People are going to be looking for true utility and value. One of my biggest worries in case gateways would come is that the returns would be below expectations.
Yeah.
And people would find that to be an argument to fund the project, or to not simply use the gateways or the gateway system or the staking system.
I think we will definitely see such a response, but once again, think about the people who say that. Those are the same moon boys now crying about not having a dashboard. Right?
I also want the dashboard. Yeah, and I'm a
True,
moon boy, but it's I
direct attack on you.
Yeah, I noticed. I felt it. Now it's I think getting a 1 to 0.5% on in QNT returns, being a finite asset, that would be amazing. And I think if you can get like up to 10% on stables, I think that would be fucking phenomenal. I think it would be ridiculous in most cases. But if you actually see what banks make year over year on your savings, that's an average yield of 17%.
Mm-hmm.
So technically they could give about 10, but a gateway return will never. Yeah.
I think there will be a difference between gateway returns, which are literal staking on the network itself, and staking in the form as how these platforms offer it. I mean, Bitcoin itself doesn't offer any kind of staking mechanism, if I'm correct. I could be wrong here. But they do offer return interest rate. So what I think will happen is that you simply lend them your QNT, and you give them your QNT, and they do some magical money things with it, and they give you a bit in return.
I'm not giving nobody my fucking QNT, idiot.
Okay, fair enough. But I think that will be possible in the future. There are platforms which offer that.
Yeah.
And I think if you want higher rates at more risk, that is definitely what will happen, I guess.
But you said yourself earlier this episode, people don't trust exchanges anymore. They're putting everything on their ledgers, or they're putting everything onto their MetaMask.
Will they really? I mean, we're also in the traditional banking system where banks could literally collapse and they could take all your money. Here,
they don't even have to collapse. They could just close the doors.
Exactly. And I mean, in this country, you're safe up to 100K, but above that, you're technically screwed.
Oh.
There is no guarantee. So I'm always a bit wary of this. Oh, we need to decentralize, because how the hell are you going to go back how are you going to off-ramp and on-ramp your money? You still need an exchange.
No, bro,
was a bit
everybody's gonna pay in Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, I'm a bit skeptical about that.
Let's dive into this update. It reads Overledger 2.2.6 focuses on maintenance and scalability. This release supports engineering enhancements to the platform. May 12, 2022. Version 2.2.6 is an engineering release of Overledger to improve the future scalability of the platform. This upgrade does not contain new APIs. There are no changes to the user experience. Enhancements include
Boring.
implementation of new API error code framework, backend improvements for Bitcoin SegWit support, foundational improvements to enable faster and more efficient deployment of new QRC smart contracts and tiers.
Nice.
And it is indeed not very exhilarating or exciting, but they went through the trouble of creating a new post, posting a new update, and they did it like clockwork within 2 weeks. I think it's awesome. I think it's amazing, especially when you have the blood slushing through the streets, and everybody is fearful that messages like these are good to calm the nerves. I think they're still working. They're still doing.
At the end of the day, they are not tied to what is happening in the crypto market. They just have a token that is their utility token. But at the end of the day, they earn their revenue from their services that they sell. It's not. I mean, at this point, they kind of emptied their wallets. Sure, they can raise some capital still, but their main business model is shifting to just generating steady revenue.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean the blood is definitely running through the streets, but they just become a stable company now, which is really nice. And I think at the end of the day, I do really enjoy the fact that they also publish these kind of updates, because think about it, there are so. At the beginning of this episode, we couldn't start for over an hour because Jarno was running all these updates on his computer. And why is that? Where all those updates that he installed on his computer, were they foundational updates to completely change the way he uses his computer? Oh, no, it's just more stability. It's all just to improve his experience. And you need that. You need to improve your software. If there's a weak spot somewhere, you just need to update that. And that's what they did. So that's great, right? Nothing to worry about, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boring. No.
It's
Okay.
no.
Yes, yeah. I think
Are we gonna look back at Lounge from last year?
oh yeah, I completely forgot. Let's do that. That's fun. That sounds
Okay,
really fun.
I need to look that up. And after that, I think I'm pretty much done.
You are done.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Oh, but I do have some questions still from
Oh no, we definitely need to do the fucking questions.
from a lovely I mean our lovely community is always out there.
What's that? Is that May 12th today?
Yeah, it's the 12th of May.
Third. Yeah, 12th of May. Oh.
I think if we go a year back in time, just from oh dear. Oh dear, shenanigans.
No, yeah, obviously. Let's see.
From the top of my head, wasn't the 12th of May a year ago, like a couple of days before the market rocked? And it might have been a day after the Doge father fiasco. Oh dear, what is that?
This is the first thing that I opened up.
Is that
Vitalik is now Vitalik by sending money to India COVID relief, and you see a Vitalik.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I mean, I think Vitalik he donated like 2 billion in Shiba to COVID relief.
Yeah, something like that.
And this were the days of Elon on Saturday Night Live. The times that Dogecoin reached an all-time high of around 40 billion in market cap.
Goldman MD quits after making fortune of Dogecoin. Dogecoin. We got a very nice GIF here of the team dancing, the village people.
Yeah.
Gift party. Oh yeah, that's a proper gift party.
I don't want to get demonetized.
For what?
We already are.
Yeah. I was pretty active there. Fucking gift spam. But from what I remember, last year, this time there was also a pretty big dump, and Quant didn't. Oh yeah, this. Well, all the tokens. We got Elon, we got Hachiko, Melody, Pika, and they were all rug pulled. That was the dog coin era. As you can see, we didn't prepare this, so we're just flying by the seat of our pants as always. Somebody was calling out Coin Metro because he didn't have his shit in order. Not Coin Metro, but the user. These were also the days when we still had, just like last week, like 1,000 messages a day. Tim is dancing, playing music in the background. If you see ads this episode, it's because Tim is actually stealing somebody else's music. So Vitalik is selling his dog tokens, ship Akita, and he bought 1 unit of the token fuck. Maybe he's trying to send a message to CZ. Yeah, there were a lot of shenanigans. Oh, we already adapted the chart here.
Sorry, I think for the rest of this night I'll have YMCA from the Fletcher coin spooking through my head, but yeah. But actually we were talking about this chart, and because today we hit the $40 range again, and someone suggested in the lounge that we should how do you say it, should alter the will in the sea creature chart based on what kind of sea creature you are because of the new prices. But then it was stated that no, this latest figure that you see with the sea creatures is actually from the $30 era, so it's still relevant apparently even at these prices. So I think starting from 3,000 €1 whale, 2,000 makes you croc? No, not a croc, like a shark, I guess.
Can't remember.
And then 1,000 to 2,000 is like a croc, and
yeah, something like that. Something like that. This was during the night on the Monday.
Oh dear.
Yeah, everybody was still talking Doge. What is this? 1 trillion, guys, seriously? Less than 2 years. Everybody, yeah.
Hey, Buffle.
Yeah, Buffeltje is always there.
He is.
Stirring
El
shit.
Picho. There's a lot of familiar names, and can you... What else was going on?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. It's XRP is opening up the world to a new means of cross-border payments and on-demand liquidity. Running an XRP validator via Overledger gateways. That was the industry Q thing, which plugs into Quant's ecosystem of ecosystems. Here he made this Quant and XRP are working together for the future, blah blah, something like that. We were on a tear, influencing. Here again, Metcalfe's law, as if we've never seen that before. Interested users. Oh yeah, that was so interesting because Quantity made that tweet and Altcoin Buzz ran with it. And they made this article. Interested users can now use Quant tokens by running a Ripple XRP validator through Quant Network's Overledger gateway. which is technically not untrue, but not a fact yet. And Quantity presented it as being fact, and Altcoin Buzz just copy pasted it. We had a pretty good
journalism.
yeah, we had a pretty good laugh about that. How many holders do we have there? We have 16,000 holders back then.
16,000. Can you scroll a bit up? Then we can look at the more specific details. So we have 16,000 holders, 40 new holders in 24 hours, and then 155 in 7 days. Wow, it was so low. Rank 100 is 16,400 and I can't read it. My eyes choke on
94. 16,494. Yeah.
Back in the day, that was worth 600K. And if you were to be in the top 1,000, you needed 1,457 quant, totaling a worth of around 56K. Nice. And price a year ago was $38.
And 53 cents.
Yeah.
The stablecoin phase. Yeah.
The absolute stablecoin phase.
Yeah,
Hey.
and ODAP was already a thing. We just got ODAP V2 in a way. Sec was talking about it. Gilbert wrote, ODAP has immense potential and the support has been quite positive. Our vision is that the other providers will also generate their own OVN gateways and connect them to the OVN. Think the likes of Intel, Microsoft, etc. Not confirming they will. I mean, these types of companies. Yeah, he name drops Intel and Microsoft so often accidentally. It's okay. As they all will be talking with the ODAP protocol. They will interoperate. We'll be the first with our gateways, but there will be many, many more to grow the ecosystem.
I feel like Hybris needs a shout out. He
Oh,
is
definitely.
so consistent.
Religiously.
At first I thought it was a bot. I really thought that this must be a bot. This can't be a real human being. But it is.
Yeah.
Impressive stuff.
Yeah, Res, keep it up, man. And this is also interesting. This was LagChain, the South American regional blockchain. At LagChain ran a tokenized cross-border payment trial between the International Development Bank and Citi. I've seen Citi before somewhere. There was some document I found. No, never mind. Separately, LagChain partnered with Overledger Net also for cross-border payments.
Nothing to see your folks keep moving.
Let's skip because we're actually the days. This is still on Monday. Let's see what happened on Friday in that week.
Yeah, because you're listening to this on Friday.
Yeah, but these were the weeks.
That's me. Hey, I was there. It's 8. I was awake. I was scrolling in my bed. Here.
Oh yeah.
There.
Tim Crypto Plankton Gang. Let's see. Oh yeah, the fat fuck with his hamburger trying to get his ass out of the Lambo. Yeah. Let's see. What do we have here? Update. There is that green candle looking good for my quant crew. We had that initial breakout that we were all looking at. What's next? Yeah. So you see a graph here. Crypto nugget. Quant had a little bit of a wee pump. And some people buying.
Oh yeah, that was also a thing. I remember back in those days you had we didn't have the T1s, right? So we didn't have Binance, we didn't have Coinbase, we didn't have Kraken. We didn't even have crypto.com. We just literally had KuCoin, Coin Metro, and Uniswap. And Uniswap was actually a very good indicator. I remember that back in those days, it would actually stalk a Uniswap tracker bot. It's so weird how things in 1 year can change so much. It seems like everything is the same, but there has been so much difference in 1 year time.
Yeah.
We don't even really use Uniswap anymore. It's kind of redundant.
Is it really? No.
I mean, it's not. Especially, it's interesting that I say that on this day, where centralized exchanges are. Oh yeah.
I want this for my house. This is a guy that has like the swimming pool next to his house, and it's his windows, and he can look out through the windows through the swimming pool to the outside. It's fascinating. I
It's
need
just a
that
dream, man. It's the absolute dream.
later when I grow up. Boston Fed announces plans to design a blockchain supervisory node. That's boring times, kinda. No,
Yeah,
no.
we were crabbing into the
Yeah.
crash a week later.
That was a week later, yeah. Oh yeah, Elon tweeted, working with Doge devs to improve system transaction efficiency, potentially promising. The market cap of Dogecoin spiked 10 billion after this tweet. The fuck?
On May 14, 2021.
Elon pump. Simply because he said he was working with Doge. It's yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Fascinating times. Doggy coins, Elon pumps, Elon dicks, cum rockets.
The good old days. Gummies went for 27 cents.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have nothing anymore. I am done.
That's good because then we can move to the content provided by our viewers.
Yes.
And
Let's go.
I can guarantee you there is. So let's start with Instagram and then see what's left and right.
Yes.
Okay, so the first question is safest place to store QNT. What is the safest place to do that? I'd say a ledger still.
Yeah, if you want an exchange, I'd go with CoinMetro. Link in the description, or Coinbase. Link in the description.
See what you did, sir.
But if you
Of gewoon lekker op Bitfavo.
Ja, Bitfavo kan ook. Nou, it's if you want to go the hardware wallet way, go Ledger or Trezor. I think it's equal. I use a Ledger. No link
Don't
in the
buy them
description.
second hand.
Yeah. If you're from the Netherlands, you can buy them at Coolblue. There are a bunch of resellers that are verified. You need to check that. You can check that on the Ledger website. I think there's an argument to be made for not buying it from Ledger or Trezor website themselves, because those companies are high value targets for stealing customer data. Ledger hack or Ledger blah blah. People have been getting emails, have getting calls because Ledger simply lost all their information. If you buy it at Coolblue, the chance is smaller.
Oh, then the next question is 30 plus beleggen. Is asking, does QNT store in a ledger? Well, the answer is yes. We just answered that. Then the next question.
It's in a ERC20 token. So you can store QNT anywhere where you can store ERC20s. Yeah, there's also, I forgot the name, but there's a bunch of wallets beside MetaMask where you can actually store tokens on. I forgot. We won the listing on that last year, 2 years ago. I forgot. Move on.
How do you put QNT on a ledger step by step? Well, there are just tutorials. It's any ERC20 token. Just look up a tutorial and they will perfectly explain how it works. And even the custom, I mean, not the custom, but it's even just the manual that is being provided with your ledger
is adequate. Ledger themselves made videos.
Yeah.
Other people made videos as well.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's move to an easier question. A Luna price prediction in a couple of months, sir.
0.
Yeah. So something near 0. Yeah. Okay. Then what happens if Tether crashes too?
That's unforeseen, unimaginable. It's no. I can't even begin to guess. I mean, you could even argue that it's potentially being priced in. I saw USDC going parabolic on Tether versus Tether. So people are actually getting the hell out of Tether and getting into USDC. I don't know. That's not
The
even a
world will
crystal,
burn.
not even a crystal ball wrapped in tea leaves after it's dunked in coffee will show that truth.
The how do they say that? The world will burn.
Yeah, no one
Okay,
knows.
that's nice.
No one
Then
knows.
those were the questions asked directly, but that's not it yet. I did get some DMs. Were there questions on YouTube? Can you check real quick? You know? There might, because people ask us questions everywhere. So
True. Let's see. Excellent show. Keep it up.
Oh, we've got a question here about Coinbase this morning. Rookie questions that he has a small part of his portfolio on Coinbase. And the question is whether that forms a risk. Because, well, Coinbase is getting hammered on the stock market. I personally wouldn't say so. But I am very wary of the fact that centralized exchanges could, just like regular banks, potentially run into trouble. So that's the reason why the vast majority of my bag is in a cold wallet. However, I also need to have an emergency fund in case I need money. So that is the reason why a part of my bag is on a centralized exchange, which I trust. Many of those companies are credible. It's not on Binance, it's not on Bitrue or something like that. So yeah, I don't think a lot can happen, but make sure for yourself that you properly analyze the risk, and don't overdo it. You want to sleep at night. You don't want to be like me having tummy aches all the time.
You want to have access to your funds when everything goes missing. You want to have it. You want to have it rapidly. I mean, it's knife cuts both ways. I have the same routine as Tim. I have the overwhelming majority on ledgers, and I have some on MetaMask, some on exchanges. Most I have on CoinMetro, and some spread out through all across the world. So on Asian, American, and European exchanges.
Yeah, plus that during the moments you actually want to sell or buy, the Ethereum network will not work in your favor.
Yeah, Ethereum congestion is my biggest worry when I need to cash out. You really need to keep that into account, I think, or keep a decent amount of ETH somewhere on an exchange, or a decent amount of fiat, which I personally wouldn't recommend, I think, but I'm not a financial advisor.
Aren't you? You're live. No. Let's see. Yeah, I think we did get feedback everywhere, but I'm not sure. The thing is, it reaches us during the course of the week, and my mind wasn't really with the Quamfy show, honestly.
Crying in his pillow.
I mean, I did, yeah. I did, yeah. Well, I literally physically get ill at the moment it happens. Yeah. I'm just a human being. I mean, and I'm taking a shit ton of risk. If Quant goes to zero, I've lost all my money. Yeah, I mean that's the amount of risk I take. So, not saying it will happen, but
I sleep like a baby. I have also all my wealth in Quant. This dip shouldn't last any more than a week, because that would be very, very painful. Sub 65 euros, 19% pump today. Nice.
Yeah, well, last week we were cheering about going back to 100 euro.
I don't give a fuck. I celebrate every pump. You know that. Optimist.
This man is a. I mean, I wish I did have some fiat though, but I literally have no fiat
Yeah.
left. So
No, that's my
I
problem as
couldn't
well.
share with these prices. Yeah, I mean, I do have fiat, but if something happens, like I need to. There's like this minimum barrier.
I need to start selling QNT within 3 days again. Otherwise, I'm probably not going to get home with the car. Need gas. So
Yeah,
I prefer prices being a little bit higher.
I'm just gonna look for Quamfy show. I'll just type it in on Telegram. If that doesn't show any results, I'm calling it an episode.
So I am on vacation. I am on Texel. Texel is like a small island in the north of the Netherlands, and they
Actually,
are
it's the
known
biggest island.
and they are known for their sheep. And I'm showing a sheep on a lamb. Meh, meh. I love lamb. I love lamb. It's so fatty and juicy, and it's so. And I'm. Meh. Sorry. So yeah, I'm on vacation here. So I'm managing with the laptop, and I got all these fancy bedstand lights that I just positioned, so I have enough lighting. So there's 2 lights, one over here and one over here. Then I have my ring light here and my camera there, while my laptop is underneath here. And I always love improvising.
Yeah.
These studio kind of things.
And
And I got a chair on the table where everything is on.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting on a baby
You were
crib.
talking. You were.
Yeah,
talking
I'm
about your
just
holiday.
I'm just filling the time while Tim is looking up questions.
Yeah,
I
well,
looked on
I think-
YouTube. I looked on YouTube. There's no questions.
No, there's also not really any reactions on. I mean, there were reactions, but not really questions. I think some, but I think we'll do that next episode. I'm not sure if he dropped it already. Actually, he showed me some alpha this week on a new thread, a new lead. And I'm not sure if he posted it already, but my brain is fried at the moment. Oh, he did. I think. No, he hasn't dropped it yet.
Weather sucks here, by the way. I mean, it's kind of like the weather of the rest of the Netherlands, but it's always windy here, and there's always a degree of, yeah,
No.
mostly just wind.
Yeah, no.
Which,
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were talking. You were
No,
complaining
no,
about the
please,
weather.
please continue.
There was also this cloud that you showed on this Project Harp style cloud that we saw. Yeah, in the video you shared with me.
Yeah.
No, yeah. On topic, Son is working on a thread, and I've seen the alpha. I've seen what he's doing, and it's impressive. So we'll definitely cover that next week. It has to do with a lead everyone has been overlooking, and which is right in front of our face, and everyone has kind of missed it. And
Our guest is supposed to be here next week as well.
Yeah.
So we have some.
Well, it's going to be a very interesting episode, and really, when Son drops it, I actually helped him work on the thread. I do one thing for him. It's an interesting lead, so
good.
A lot of juicy, good stuff coming.
Excellent. Let's round this up.
Shall we?
Yes, I'm done. I want to get to editing and get to bed.
Sure.
Or do you have anything interesting to add still? Because we are
Nope.
dragging this out. I feel like we're dragging this out, and I feel it's annoying.
No, I think we're kind of done. I just hope everyone is doing okay and stays calm.
Yeah, that's the most important thing.
Don't let your instinct, which has the tendency to flee, get the master of you. Just always stay rational. Know what you're holding.
You do know that initial human instinct and animal instinct is to freeze and to do nothing, because most predators get triggered by movement.
Mm-hmm.
So initially people freeze.
Well, that's what happened with me.
and then they make the decision, usually to fight or flight. I just freeze and I just do nothing. I just stop caring, which is also a good thing. Just hold on to your QNT until at least 2023, 24, and then reassess. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Stay
You're-
comfy.
Stay comfy. And I'll see you next week.